Welcome back to our channel. Today we are diving into one of the most fascinating topics in the car world. The cars that are actually illegal to drive on U.S. roads. Now you might be wondering, why would anyone ban such beautiful machines? Well, the reasons are usually strict American laws on safety, crash testing, and emissions. In other words, if a car doesn't meet those standards, it's banned, no matter how famous or legendary it is. So let's take a ride through history and discover the Top 5 banned cars in America. 1. Nissan Skyline GT-R R34, the Forbidden Godzilla. Our journey begins with the king of Japanese sports cars, the Nissan Skyline GT-R R34. Nicknamed Godzilla, this car became legendary thanks to its dominance in racing and, of course, its starring role in movies like Fast and Furious. With a twin-turbocharged inline-six engine and the famous Atesa all-wheel drive system, the R34 was years ahead of its time. But here's the catch. In the U.S., it was banned. Why? Because it never went through American crash tests or emissions tests. The U.S. government passed the Import Safety Compliance Act in 1988, which made it nearly impossible to bring cars like the R34 legally unless they were re-engineered, a process costing hundreds of thousands of dollars. Some tried sneaking Skylines in, but the authorities actually seized and crushed many of them. The only way you can get one now is if it's over 25 years old, under the special import rule. So today, people are just starting to import R34s legally. But during its prime, this legend was completely banned. Thai, Lotus 34, and Elise Series 1, too wild for the streets. Next up is the wild British creation, the Lotus 340R, and the first-generation Lotus Elise. Lotus has always been about lightweight design and sharp handling. But with the 340R, they took things to the extreme. No roof, no doors, no proper windshield. It was basically a race car that you could, in theory, take on the street. In Europe, that was fine. But in the U.S., absolutely not. American safety standards require basics like airbags, impact protection, and crash testing. And the Lotus 340R failed on all fronts. The Elise Series 1 also got banned for similar reasons. No airbags, not enough safety features. So while car enthusiasts loved them for track days, in the U.S. they remain forbidden fruit. 3. Alfa Romeo 8C Spider. The Italian beauty blocked. At number 3, we have the gorgeous Alfa Romeo 8C Spider. This car is a piece of rolling art with its flowing curves, powerful V8 engine, and Italian soul. It stole hearts worldwide. Only a few hundred were ever made, making it very rare. But in the U.S., it never got approval. Why? Because Alfa Romeo didn't go through the full emissions, certification, and crash safety process. Without that, the car could not be sold or registered legally in America. Imagine having the money to buy one of the most beautiful Italian roadsters ever made, but still not being allowed to drive it on American roads. That's the sad reality of the Alfa Romeo 8C Spider. 4. Porsche 959. The supercar that America said no to. Now let's talk about one of the most advanced cars of the 1980s, the Porsche 959. This car was a revolution. Twin turbochargers, advanced all-wheel drive, adjustable suspension. It was basically the father of today's modern supercars. With over 444 horsepower back in the 1980s, it could outrun almost anything on the road. So why was it banned in America? Simple. Porsche never submitted it for U.S. crash testing or emissions approval. And without that paperwork, the car was not road legal here. However, thanks to pressure from wealthy collectors like Bill Gates, the government later introduced the show and display rule, which allowed limited import of historically significant cars like the 959. But even then, owners can only drive them a few hundred miles a year. So yes, the 959 is technically allowed now, but for decades, it was one of the most famous banned cars in America. 5. XJ220S, the unsafe supercat. And finally, we have the Jaguar XJ220S. The standard XJ220 was already an incredible supercar, with a top speed of over 210 miles per hour. But Jaguar made an even more extreme version, the XJ220S. This stripped-down version had more power but fewer safety features. No proper airbags, no modern safety systems, and not enough crash protection. For U.S. regulators, that was a big no. As a result, the Jaguar XJ220S was never certified for American roads and remains banned to this day. It's an ultra-rare collector's item that can only be seen at private collections or racing tracks, never on U.S. highways. So there you have it, the top 5 banned cars in America. From the legendary Nissan Skyline R34 to the futuristic Porsche 959, these cars were blocked not because they weren't amazing, but because they didn't fit America's strict safety and emissions rules. The good news? Thanks to the 25-year rule, some of these forbidden legends are slowly finding their way to U.S. shores. Which one of these cars would you love to drive if it were legal? Let us know in the comments below. And as always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more car stories from around the world. See you in the next video.